Hi, it's Hugh Taylor coming to you from a new but also messy office here. And this morning I want to talk to you about something that's going to seem contradictory. I'm going to talk myself out of work by telling you 5 reasons why you might need a full service PR firm, which is what Comms Factory is not. But I've had this conversation enough times with potential clients that I realize it would be helpful for people to understand what their options are. So I'm going to go over these 5 reasons. If I could find my cursor here, hold on a second. So just briefly, there's 5 reasons I would say you might need a full service PR firm. One is you get a sustained focus on your account, get reactive, not just proactive public relations. You get crisis PR, which hopefully you won't need, but you might need. You get a depth of talent on the agency side, and you get a certain business value, meaning getting what you pay for, which could be important to you if you're at a certain stage of life in your business. But first, let me just quickly digress again. Like, why am I telling you this? I want you to work with me, right? Comms Factory, we are not full service. We are economical, we're gig oriented, low fees for simple work, okay? But we're not full service. But I want you to succeed. That's what I'm really all about. Because if I can help you succeed, then maybe, you're going to have a relationship with me going on forward. I want you to understand your choices. And I also want to offer some clarity on what can be a very confusing decision for a business owner or marketing person. Because the context for this is the public relations business is changing, and the full service model, which I'm going to talk about in this video, is considered sort of, old school or out of date, but it's still very viable. You have more options, but there's a lot of misinformation. People, oh, you have to do it this way, you can't do it that way. Let's just talk about what you get and what you might want. Okay? And let me just quickly talk about what I mean by full service, how a PR firm works. A traditional full service public relations firm usually works on a retainer model. You pay them a monthly retainer, and that can be anywhere from $10,000 a month up to $1 million a month. It can be, but usually it's in the $25,000 a month range, or less, 20, 15,000. You're not going to get it for less than 10. So it's a significant expense for most businesses. What you get in return is you get a certain account service structure. You almost always get a dedicated team or account manager who services your account, who's going to focus on your account a certain number of hours per month. What you're really getting with a retainer is you're buying a block of hours. So if they charge $100 an hour and you're paying $10,000, you're getting 100 hours of time on your account, right? So you're getting a significant focus on your account. And they typically will have a weekly meeting with you. They will have ongoing projects where they're pitching certain stories. They're with you when you make an announcement. They write the press release. They reach out to the media. They follow up. They also do things like if you have a media interview, they will schedule it. They'll be on it to make sure it goes right, so forth. That's what you're getting. And it's different from what you get certainly with us, which is sort of very simple services. And it's different from what you might get with a freelance publicist who can do all of these things, but they're just working for you on an hour-by-hour basis. It's a little bit different, less structure. So let's talk about the number one reason, sustained focus on your account. So as I mentioned, you get a dedicated account manager and perhaps a dedicated team, depending on the level of your retainer. And the reason this matters is that this is a person or group of people who are going to take a lot of time to learn about your business, what your business goals are, what your communications goals are. They're going to understand your messages, or they'll help you develop your messages. They can work hand in glove with your marketing communications team or marketing agency to make sure that they're communicating about your business in the way that you want to, that aligns with your brand. And they will develop all the materials that you need to go with that, the press releases, the media kit, the backgrounders, the executive bios. They'll pull together all the stuff you need. They'll do research on your competitors and what their media exposure has been, and on and on. They're focused on your PR success. and you're paying them for that, but you're getting a certain level of sustained focus on your account and on your media success. They're going to do reactive versus just proactive PR. Now, this is a bit of an inversion. Usually proactive is better than reactive, but in public relations, reactive can be good, meaning that they're looking for stories for you. As hopefully they're doing this. For example, if a story comes up in the news, it's relevant to you, they're going to react to it, they're going to pitch you to the press, which is very helpful. They're not just, going out when you want them to. They're waiting and looking for stories and reacting as opportunities come up, and that can be a great way to get media exposure. Number 3 is crisis PR, and this is something I certainly don't do, and I'm not in sustained relationships with clients, so it doesn't really come up, but this can be really important. Crisis PR, just briefly, I have a whole video on it, it's as they say, there's 2 kinds of public relations. One is to get your name in the papers, and the other is to keep your name out of the papers. Crisis PR is a public relations service where if there's a problem with your business, like if you're getting sued or there's a government, regulation problem or some embarrassing situation, a crisis PR firm will step in and manage the media and minimize the damage that your brand suffers from a problematic situation. And most full-service public relations agencies have at least one person or partner who is a crisis PR expert, and they will often prepare you for the crisis before it happens. And this is something that people don't always realize, is that if there's a problem, like, whatever, your CEO is in a car accident and kills somebody, for God forbid, right? Something terrible happens. That's not when the PR firm says, maybe this is time to prepare like a press statement. They've already written it. It's ready to go. So the second something happens, they can jump in and talk to reporters and say, this is what really happened. We're telling our story. Please don't tell our story the wrong way. There's a whole, art to it. They can negotiate with media outlets on how your crisis story will be told. That can be very valuable because, you can lose brand value in a matter of hours with the wrong crisis PR or public relations approach. Number 4 is depth of talent. Usually with a full service agency, there's at least, there can be hundreds of people available, but usually, dozens of people available in the agency who may have different skills. Some people might be better at working with radio PR or television, online, social media. You have access to like sort of a talent pool, and that's part of your account manager's job, is to figure out who in the agency can best help you. You also get access to senior people with extensive experience. This can be very valuable. You might be working with an account manager who's in her 20s or something, but you have access to someone who with 30 years of experience at the agency if there's a complicated situation or problem, whatever. Also, a good full-service PR firm will have relationships with media outlets. This really depends on the agency, but it's certainly on a local basis. If you're in San Diego and you have a San Diego PR firm, they're going to they should have relationships with the local television stations, the local newspapers, and so forth. If they don't, they're probably not the right agency for you. And number 5 is business value. And this is something that it's important to understand that PR is part of the marketing mix, so to speak. Usually you're doing, some kind of marketing, lead generation, brand marketing, advertising. You're doing different things to get your company out there and get business, and public relations is part of that. And to get value from it from a business perspective, it usually makes sense to do it on a sustained level of investment. So if it's a retainer and it's $10,000 a month, so you're spending $120,000 a year in PR, that might be, let's say, 10% of a $1.2 million annual marketing spend. That's not the only way you're going to get business value out of it, but that's probably the best way. If you're spending $1.2 million on marketing and you have like an hourly PR person who you're paying, $500 a month, you're probably not going to get enough PR value out of that. You probably have to make a sustained investment and build a sustainable relationship with a professional services firm for PR over the long term, so that over time, if you're with them for 3 or 4 years or whatever, 5 years, they're going to understand your business. They're going to be ready to work with you. They're going to get you the best exposure as opportunities come up. So that's another argument for doing it, because the counter argument, people say, oh, why do you want to spend all this money on PR? Well, it's kind of a getting what you pay for situation. If you're with the right agency and they're doing a good job for you, you're going to get really the optimal value out of it. So now let me turn around and contradict myself and say why you shouldn't do this. The reason I'm doing this, I know it seems kind of strange. I want you to understand this issue from all the way around. There's upsides and downsides to working in a PR firm. One of the biggest problems you can run into is not getting the right team. And I mention this because there's nothing inherently wrong with the full service PR model, but you can run into this problem that, for example, you may, in the beginning of the process, work with a partner at the firm, and then you may feel that you're being sort of handed off to a team that doesn't understand your business or is not senior enough. And what I would say is talk about that in the beginning. Like, who am I really going to be working with here? Meet those people. Make sure they understand your needs. There's 2 other issues that can come up. One is what I would call filling hours. Some PR firms, if they're not well managed, you might find that on your account, like they promise you 100 hours a month. And so in the 4th week of the month, all of a sudden they're rushing and doing all kinds of stuff to kind of make up for the time they didn't spend earlier in the month. And you're not getting really the optimal outcome. You're kind of getting pushed into situations, and you may not really get the results that you're looking for. And that's something to watch out for. The other potential thing is conflicts with other clients. So usually a PR firm will not have 2 clients from the same industry, like they're not going to be working with your competitor. But where this can come up is in, if say the firm has a relationship with NBC News or something, they may pitch another client to NBC News, and that's sort of their shit with NBC News for that week or whatever. They're not going to pitch you on Monday and another client on Tuesday. They have to manage their relationships with these media outlets. So you may find yourself like not getting the premium attention in that case. And often you don't really know that's happening, but you'll sort of know over the long term what's going on based on results. Anyway, so those are some thoughts on why you may want to use a full-service PR firm as opposed to a hourly publicist or a service like mine. If you want to learn more about doing PR economically, I have my book, Stop Being Invisible. It's available at the link below, as well as a special offer for press release distribution. So I hope this has been helpful. And if we can help in any way, please visit us at commsfactory.net. And we look forward to working with you.